Randy captured 4 North Central Conference titles, becoming the first individual to win 4 titles in the history of the league. A 4-time All-American for the Panthers, he won the 190-pound NCC title as a freshman, and after redshirting, he came back in the 72-73 season, and he moved to heavyweight, where he won his 2nd title in the conference, placing 5th at the NCAA championships. As a junior, his record was 35-7 after placing 4th at the NCAA meet. He capped his collegiate wrestling career with an individual national championship and also a team national championship in 74-75.
I want to thank the induction committee and the University of Northern Iowa for this great honor. Really means a lot to me. But what means even more is that I had an opportunity to go to college at the University of Northern Iowa. I graduated with a degree, a first-rate degree, that served me very well through my employment career. There's just so many people that I would like to say thank you to, and I'd be here all day. But number one, Coach Patton, I want to thank you for taking a chance on a tall, lanky young man and form him into I hope, a pretty good wrestler. Briggsy, I'll remember this the rest of my life. Thank you, buddy. I had so many teammates. I've wrestled on 4 teams that were just fantastic, and so many great teammates. And the thing is, it's those teammates that were in the practice room every night making you better. They might have been freshmen when I was a senior or whatever, but they were there. They were making me better. And I owe them so much. Back then, we didn't have banquets. You wrestled the last meet and you're gone. Well, now I want to say thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making me what I was when I was in wrestling. Last of all, I'd like to thank probably my best coach, my best supporter, the person that has shared my life for 46 years, my wife, Ellen. You know, the year 2018 has been a pretty good year for us. And I'm going to give you a little personal history. 20 years ago, Ellen was injured down in Des Moines on Interstate 80 in a construction area. She was rear-ended by a semi. She came out of it with a TBI, and that was 20 years ago. For 19 years, we've heard nothing but there's nothing more we can do for you. Nothing else to do. What do you want to do? Try some more drugs? Well, this summer, and why 2018 has been a great year, we found a program in Cedar Rapids, Vision in Motion. And they said, go down there and see what they can do. We went in, they did some preliminary tests. We come out, and for the first time in 19 years, they said, we think we can get your wife 25 to 50% improvement. People, that's not just great, that's a miracle. And it's a miracle that my wife is sitting over here instead of at home and with us today. Very shortly, any day, Ellen and I will become grandparents for the first time. That's why my son is not here. 2018, we had the privilege of finally, we made it. We retired. Fantastic. It's just 2018, a little humor here, but our best rock and roll group, the Moody Blues, finally made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And in 2018, together, we made it into the Hall of Fame. Thank you. You know, I thought about what to say about all the guys and all the teams that I was on. I was on 4 fantastic teams. So I want to tell you a little bit about the first one I was on, my freshman year. And why I'm so proud of that freshman year is because we went in there, and Coach Patton, nobody expected us to do very much, did they? We were a bunch of young people. And we got in there, and Coach Patton started molding us, started getting us going. And the first people that we had to wrestle was Navy. And the midshipmen, they came a storming in here. And they thought that they were going to really take it to us. They ended up, well, their ship was sunk. And I didn't tell you this, Coach, but a week after we beat those guys, Coach Barry from that team, he gave me a letter and he says, how would you like to join the midshipmen? And I said, no, I'll stay where I'm at. Later that year, this team was interested because Coach Patton, he's known for really working you hard, getting you in good shape. If you can't beat the other guy, you are going to outlast him. And then you'll beat him. And in this team, we just had a bunch of hard-nosed guys. We just didn't understand that we weren't supposed to beat some of these teams. And we went out and we took it to them. That's the year that we took the conference championship. It's kind of interesting because in the finals of my match, I was behind 6-3 and ended up pinning this guy. And this guy, he ended up being the WWF World Heavyweight Champion out on the East Coast, Big Bob Backlund. In fact, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame at Dan Gable's museum 2 years ago. The next week we went to the national championships, and I think that was probably the worst week we had that year. That team, I think, could have been first or second. I think we could have given Cal Poly a good go, but we had a bad weekend. Well, we ended up, I forget what we placed, 5th, 6th. But then the next week, and it's kind of unusual that we had a dual meet after the Nationals, but we wrestled the University of Iowa. And the University of Iowa came in like they usually do, thinking that nobody was going to stop them. Well, we ended up beating them too. So I had the privilege, while I was wrestling, to be on 2 teams out of 4 that beat the University of Iowa. Coach Schwab says he's looking to do better. And I think he's headed down the right direction. I think it's a great program. I really love the way they got the West Gym going. It really looks nice. Finally, I'd just like to mention that in 2017 we lost a Hall of Famer, Bill Nelson. Bill Nelson was my idol all my life. I had the privilege, well, first I'll tell you a little bit about Bill. Bill was from Eagle Grove. He was a state champion. He weighed 145 pounds. He won the heavyweight state championship. So he's a pretty tough character. He came to UNI. He was a 3-time national champion. He was injured 1 year. He ended up going to the 1948 Olympics. He placed 2nd. I had the distinct pleasure in 2010 of having him honor me with the jacket and plaque from the Iowa chapter of the National Hall of Fame, and I will never forget that. So, guys, this means so much to me. And I'm just so happy that I was able to enjoy this with my lovely wife. Thank you.